What's up, guys? It's Minx. In this video, we're going to create our border. I don't think we're going to do labels yet because that's too lazy. But we're going to do a border, and in this one, I'm not going to write this out proactively and then show you or go through it with you and write it together. Instead, I'm going to write it with you guys and kind of go through the design process. I think I've done this before once, and I wasn't a big fan. But this one, we're gonna create this border that we're gonna design our GUI. I wanted to do a border because I want to do like if we bring out paint here real quick, I want to do like a menu that kind of shows up down here like this. Then we have our level pieces like this. Three, like something like this. Kind of like like a Minecraft thing or something. I don't know. I like this. It kind of makes sense to me. So we'll do that. So I got this set up with the IGUI. So uh, we're gonna kind of do the IGUI thing for it. So firstly, create a new file called border.cs and just kind of copy this stuff over. Or well, if you inherit it from IGUI, then you write quick actions. It'll give you the option to implement it. So I kind of want to copy some stuff over from button because, to be honest, I mean we created this, but to be honest, I'm like, what did I do? So we definitely need my visual. We need my rectangle, position, scale. We don't need label. We don't need we need color. We don't need all that extra stuff. We only need these things. And we're not going to be doing anything with hovered. We might do I don't think I have these implemented like active or visible, but we'll see. So I'll grab those, toss these up at the top here. Oops, I'm in the wrong place. Border.cs. So we're going to say is hovered. We're just going to return false always, I think is fine. And we're not going to implement set. Can I not implement? Can I avoid implementing set here? Nope. Okay, I have to. We'll say is hovered equals value, but it's always going to return false, so it doesn't really matter. And that might be annoying down the line if we ever like intend to use it, but we're gonna return. We're always gonna return active and visible is true. And then we're just going to do the same thing for the equals value. Reason being, if it exists at the moment, then we're gonna, it's definitely gonna be visible. We're not gonna like be hiding it or anything. So anyway, so that's good. A rectangle get equals my rect, and set equals my rect, or it points to my rect equals value. And then screen position, get position, and set equals position equals value. So basic implementation of these things. Oh wow, scale's not on the list here. Am I missing it? No, it's okay. So for the canvas, I think it takes it as my canvas as an input here. Yeah, okay. So we'll take menu and my canvas because we need that. Writing these out is terrible, but once we write them out properly, we're done with them. And then we need to implement a constructor. So right click on border quick action and generate constructor. And we need, oh man, this is new. I've not done this one before. So we need color. We don't need label. Oh, hold on, let me cancel this. Let me get rid of label. We're not going to be using label. But this is actually kind of cool. So generate constructor. So my visual needs to be set up, I think, or we just do my color. What did we do for the button? You piece of shit. Button we did menu. So we did a canvas, position, scale, color. So brush is made at the, okay, so that's fine. We're going to do something similar for border. So constructor. So we don't need my visual. We do need my rect, position, scale, color, canvas. We don't need this. We do need rect. Is rect, my rect's here, so get rid of that. So this is what we need. Is that okay? Very cool. Okay, so my color equals my color, and we're gonna do the similar for this. So we're gonna move canvas over to the beginning. I want that to be there. Did we pass in a rectangle or did we pass in a position scale? I think we passed in a position and scale. Yeah, position and scale. So we're gonna get rid of the my rect. That's my bad. And then we're going to use the button. We can actually do the same thing button does. If you haven't done this, because I think I did this and didn't talk about it last video, do this. So when we construct the button, it should say my rect is equal to this because we start off at 0, 0. And then once it's drawn, it goes into the draw. Then the menu will update it. So that's fine. We'll put this at the bottom. So my rect equals this stuff, and this stuff is fine. So position scale color equals color. There we go. I think it says new color. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing with the button. So if color that is empty, color equals blue. Oh wait, no, we don't do it that way. We do my color equals color.blue. And then no matter what, we say my color equals color. What am I doing? Of course I know that. This dot my color equals my color. There we go. So my color comes in, and if it's empty, then it'll assign it a default value, which for us is blue. Unfortunately, we can't do that inside of the constructor. We have to, or inside of the parameter, we have to do it as a if statement here, and then we set it up if it's empty. So that's fine. Are we missing anything? The only thing I want to do is take. Let's see. So canvas should equal to my canvas. We need to fix that here. And we don't need anything here, so we're gonna ignore click events. Ignore hover events. And we'll just copy the ignore hover events over. Because those aren't gonna be really needed. I wish I could do like a bool. It's like, hey, don't check for hover. I think using interfaces the way they have is kind of ridiculous. Probably would have been better to do like inheriting from like a base GUI thing. And it's like, okay, every GUI can do these things, and you can override them if you want to. I don't know. But this is kind of the same thing. It's very similar. So we're going to essentially copy the draw over from button because the rectangle is already being updated. So we just say this dot fill rectangle, my visual, my rect. We don't actually need to do anything else. So if we say draw, now this presents a unique situation for us that we haven't come across yet, but it is something I think I've talked about in one of my videos. I'm not sure which one. We have a GUI element that we want to be drawn at the back, so first. So the way we can do that is maybe add it to the beginning of a list instead of to the end. So when we register a new border, we say, hey, put me at the beginning of the list. I think that's how we want to do this. I'm not sure how. So we need to go back through our code and see, hey, how do we determine what gets drawn and what order? So let's look. So menu has a register and a deregister, which adds it to elements. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure how the fuck we end up registering stuff. Let's see. Register element. What is this called? Okay, so when a button is created, it registers. So we do need to call this. We need to say this.mycanvas.register element this. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, what if we toss in a parameter that's like register, hey, when I register this, when I create this, put me in a specific spot on that registry. So we say this.mycanvas.register element, And we're going to put this at the end. I want to make sure this is at the end. Let's see. Let me look this up. So C#, how to add element to beginning of list. There we go. An item to the beginning of list. Let's bring this over and look at this real quick. So how do I add an item to the beginning of list? This is 15 years old, so someone else has done this. So he wants to add this to the top. Use the insert. So we ti insert 0 and then the item we want to add. So add and inserts at the end. Okay. You can use prepend or append. Okay, so we'll do the index because maybe we'd like specifically have like a specific order we want to write in. So we'll say .insert if that's available. So we can use insert or prepend depending on it. So what we'll do is we'll head over to register element and we'll do an optional index. And I think so. Well, let me see. Shoot. C# list .insert. I want to see. There's another thing I want to take a look at because in Python, if you do a -1, it'll do it at the end. Okay, index is less than 0 or index is greater than count. So okay, so we can't do the -1 equals end of list like we could on Python. Okay. So we would add it at the 0th. So we'll say, so what we can do is say, I don't want to do an index. That could be potentially dangerous. If we make the mistake of counting wrong or there's something we don't account for, we'll say bool add to beginning and we'll set it equal to false. So what this will say is, by default, you don't have to tell it to. We'll add it to the end. However, you can say, hey, I want to add it to the beginning, and then we do so. So we could say if add to beginning elements.insert, elements.insert, insert 0 element, else. And I think we can actually shorten this up here, and it might actually tell us to. We can shorten this up, so let's see. Invert? No, I don't want to invert it. One line bool. There we go. We could do a assignments, not method call. So okay, so we can't do it that way. That's okay. We got the. Can we use the tourney? No, we can only do that on assignments, and we're not assigning anything. Okay, that's okay. So we're just gonna, if add to beginning is true, we're gonna insert, and by default we don't insert. Which maybe we do want to invert this, so let's do that. Invert. There we go. So the reason being is it's I don't know if it's faster, potentially faster in the long run, but that's okay. So if we do not add to the beginning, we add to the end, and then if we do, we insert it at the 0th element. So let's go ahead and go to our border and say register element and then specify true. So register this element to the draw stack and make it draw first, so it's at the bottom. The reason for this is if it ends up registering after the button for whatever reason, let's say we went to our menu, it's like, hey, I put my GUI element border to get created after the button for whatever reason because I'm an idiot or something lags and it causes the button to be drawn first or something like that. Yeah, draw first. Then the button will be behind the border and we want the borders to be in the back. So we'll tell this to register in the back. So if we go back to our game menus, we come over to designer menu, we should be able to specify a new new border, and we'll actually put it after the button to test it. It'll be this, and we'll say vector2. So this is where we have to do a little bit of math again. So we'll say new vector2. This dot screen or this dot game dot screen size dot x divided by 2, and this dot screen size. Well, it's x, not the width. I was thinking width. I'll have to figure out. We'll do divided by 2, and then for the y, this dot game dot screen size minus minus 100. And we'll come back to that because we're gonna have to convert those into. Oh, my bad. Screen size dot y 100. New vector 2, not dot 1. You piece of shit. Get out of here. So for this one, this is the width and height. So for the width, I want to say this dot game dot screen size dot x divided by 2. That's definitely how big I want that. So it's gonna be about half the screen wide. For the y, this dot game dot screen size dot y divided by, we'll say, like, let's see, if we divide 720 by 9, we'll do by 8 for now. See how that goes. What else does this take? Does it not take more? Oh, okay. And then the color will be blue. Let's test it out. See if we get any errors when we create it. Okay, we do get an error. A cannot be no brush. Oh, we never set a brush. My bad. So if we go back to the button here, and you guys are probably yelling at me, this dot my visual equals, well, it's not going to be active color. It's going to be just my color. There we go. All right, let's give it a shot again. Okay, it's a little off. It stays on screen though. So, okay, that's right, because it's set to halfway. So we can actually say, we go back to the game menus. So we know the width is this. So we're going to take this minus this divided by 2. Because we want it to go halfway from the element. Or halfway across the element. The math makes sense, I promise. What parameters are parentheses around that to make sure it works. Play, create a level. Okay, so now it's at the center. Maybe it should be. So we'll take this for our y. So we'll say it's equal to this. And then we're going to add 100 to that, or add maybe 20. Or maybe, yeah, we'll do 20. Just 20. So the purpose of this is that extra parentheses, I think? Oh, I don't need to do that. Never mind. That's a little overkill on my part. So what this will do is say, hey, oh no, divided by, wait, hold on. So screen size divided by 8. Oh, I'm ridiculous. Okay, hold on. I completely forgot. Okay, so let's take away parentheses for a second here. So we need to take this dot game dot screen size dot y. So if we take that and then we want to subtract this dot game dot screen size divided by 8. Plus 20. So essentially what we're taking, we're putting it at the bottom of the screen. So if we have a, paint here. So if we have a screen here, we're taking the screen size. So we're going down to Y. So we're saying this is where we start. We're dividing it up into 9 pieces and we're going up that much because that's how tall it is. So it'd go from here to here. Well, make that at the bottom here. And then we're taking it up an extra 20, so that way it's a little off the bottom. I think that's how that's going to work. I'm fairly certain. Fuck. I guess it's fine. I mean, it's not like off the bottom. How close are we? Okay, so we're like, it's kind of big. Why is it big? Let's see. So that's the height. Is this that screen size dot y divided by 8 plus, let's say plus 100. Try 100 just for now. We'll start again. Okay, so it is working as expected. It just wasn't enough, I guess. I'm not sure how I goofed it up. All right, so we'll do like 50. Just want to get a good balance. Oops. Get back up there. There we go. Shoot. Okay, yeah, it's kind of like where I want it. So our buttons gonna be a little bit of a problem, but we'll see how that goes. So the next thing I want to do is get a button down on top of it. So first thing I want to do is make it like a different color. So by default, it's saying color.blue, right? That's what it's doing. Yeah, so say my color. We'll say color dot dark blue. I just want to take a look and see how dark it is, just in case. Good enough, at least for testing. So let's go ahead and do a. I wish we could like add stuff to it. I'm not sure if I ever want to do that. And then like give it like that would be complicated. We're not going to do that. So okay. So doing the math to figure this out, we're going to give this the same x and y. This is the. We'll just copy the whole vector too, make this a little easier on us. Dang. Okay. Stop it, fucker. So we come here. That's what we copy. We get rid of this vector 2 here. Okay. So when it creates it, fortunately, it only has to do that once. I'm fairly certain, because after that, it's like, okay, this is your position. You fucking sit there. And we have blue, and now we have, okay, so that's the X and Y. So actually, if we start, it should be like, yeah, okay. Let's make it a little smaller. So width can kind of be set up how we want to. However, height needs to be a little different. So width, or so width, let's take the, we'll leave it at, we'll say 80. Divided by 8 minus like 10, say. Start. Okay, so that's a good size. Now we have to figure out how to like get this down a little bit and a little bit over. So how do we do that? That's the next question. So we want to add padding. How much padding do we determine to add? So, man, that is a great question. And I'm not doing I'm not gonna go back and add padding to it like programmatically, like say, hey, we got do we want to add padding to this particular button? So we draw it at the spot and it moves, it kind of centers it. No, we're not doing that. We're gonna figure out how to determine how much down to move it in this case. Right, because this doesn't move, right? Yeah, it's in place. So how do we move that down and over with like just by a nudge? So X by Y. So obviously it's the X and Y. So this is Y, and it's saying this is our Y calculation. So we're subtracting. So we need to figure out how much more to add, or no, how much less to add. So we need to subtract a little bit from this amount. So what we could do is take the height of it. So the height of this, divide it by 10, we'll say. So this parenthesis it. I know this is getting ridiculous. And then parenthesis plus. So we're going to take that and we're going to add a little bit more to it to go down a little bit. Plus this divided by 10. I think that's how we do that, right? I know it's getting a little ridiculous. Okay, it's probably getting a lot ridiculous. So we divide that by 10 and we add that to it. So it should go down just a nudge. Okay, it went down a little too far. So maybe divide it by 20 to cut that in half. Okay, it's kind of right in the middle. I think it's close enough for our purposes. And the next thing I want to do is move it over a little bit. So we want to do the same thing. This is crazy already. So for the X, we need to add this divided by 20. I think we'll do the same. I think the padding should work out the same if we move it over this way. That's so annoying. All right. So this divided by 2 divided by 20. We're going to put these in parentheses. Oops. Plus. Divided by, oh, I missed a parenthesis. We're going to do another parenthesis here. Divided by 20. There we go. Okay. So now that we've divided both of them by 20, this should bring this just over to a smidge. Damn, it's a little bit more excessive than I'd hoped. Let's do 40. Let's cut that in half. Let's do another 80. It's not even. That's what's pissing me off, but I think it's good enough. Okay. So, how do we do this so it's the same for the next one we put over? So let's say we do a second button. And actually, I want to do something real quick. I want to go over to our border and say false, or get rid of this. We'll say false. So this doesn't add it to the end. I just want to see if it actually does draw it on top. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy there. Right. I've done that like 10 times during testing. You have no idea. Okay, so we've got blue. Okay, so that'll be our blue box. We'll do a red one now. So let's go over to back to our game menus, excuse me. And let's copy this over. And we're going to leave it to do spawn object as well. I despise this. Can I hold on. I know I can. Hold on. Let's see. Vector 2. Where does this end off? This takes up more than one line all by itself. Jesus Christ. Okay, there we go. So, okay, readable. This wasn't very readable from the get-go because there's just so much that goes into it, and I apologize for that. So this one we're gonna call. It's gonna be. Oh, this doesn't have. This is using default color, so it's not even as big as it could be. Oh, unfortunately, this one is gonna be a little bit bigger. So is it my color or active color? My color? No. Trying to specify the color. We have a hover color and color. I guess it's just color. So color.red and hover color color.red, and we do like a orange red. There we go. And we'll give the text equals red. All right. So to move this over by the correct amount, what we say is this should work if I'm not mistaken. We're going to take the x plus, is this the end? Yeah, this is it. So is there just an extra? No, that's correct. Okay. So divided by 80, and then all of this inside a parenthesis in and of itself plus, and this is something we only add for each one that's secondary, and we have to get its width. So where is width calculated? It's 80, so we just add 80. And no, we need to calculate a little bit more padding for each one. So we're going to take this padding amount and multiply it by 2, I think. We say times 2 here because we're at the second one. So if we were to like programmatically create this, we're kind of getting an idea like how to programmatically create this because at some point we're probably going to do that. And here we go. That adds the padding. So now I've got the blue and the red. We're going to add a green one, I think. Might as well. Just for like, it's okay. I got a blue one, I got a red one, and a green one. And then in the next video, we'll start being able to spawn these and get them out into the world. So yeah, the GUI is like all shaky and stuff, and it really ticks me off, but I really don't think we have a better alternative here. But all right, let's go ahead and do a green one real quick just for fun. So was it in button or something? Did I do like button? That's the constructor. Where did I make other types of buttons? Oh, I did different types of walls. That's right. It's just another button. Okay. We'll just make a green button then. Shoot. I'll do a green wall in the next video or something. So, new menus, just copy this over. Sheesh. And we'll say green. And then be green. And like what color dot light green? And then now for the X, we need to move it over another, we need to multiply it by 3, I think. And then add another 80, so we need to add 160. So just thinking like from like a perspective of programmatically adding it, we would do like, so for I in range 2 in this case, I plus whatever, we would say times I, because this would be, or times I plus 1, so 0, or so this would be 1 times 2 times 3 plus I times 80. So I times 0, 80, 0 times 80, 1 times 80, 2 times 80 to get a bunch in here. So anyway, we got this. I think that's correct. If my math is not off. I think that's I can't tell if it's the same padding in between it left and right, but it looks good. So, I really hate that the red is like not very obvious. It's like a light red. Oh, man, whatever. Orange red it is. Okay, so we got our 3 buttons here. In the next video, we're gonna click on them and an object's gonna appear on our mouse that we can move over. And I think I'm gonna do grid snapping, so we'll talk about that later as well. It's not too bad. So anyway, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.